In today's video, we're going to be unpacking the question of how to earn interest on your money. There's a lot of pitfalls you can encounter when you're trying to do just this. And I'm going to review 8 ways that I think you can invest. Some of them are pretty sketchy, but let's review them anyhow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 3 factors. I'm going to look at the reward, the potential interest you can earn, and also the risk factors involved. This way, you can make better investment decisions. So let's get started off right away here. The first one is tuck your money into your mattress. You might think this is pretty strange to start out with, but this used to be a popular way to save money, believe it or not. I had a grandmother who had stuffed hundreds of thousands of dollars into books and her mattresses and her pillows, and I'm sure she didn't sleep very well because her mattress was stuffed with money. But this is why she did it. She didn't trust banks, and she had good reason. At one time, there was no way to protect your money when it came to actually putting money into a bank. So let's look at the reward here. By tucking your money into your mattress, you've got absolute control over your money. It never leaves your hands. The only way you can lose in this investment is to be robbed, literally. Somebody coming in, breaking in, taking all your money. What's the interest gained? Nothing. You don't make any interest whatsoever because you continue to hold on to the cash. Now, what's the risk? You'll actually, beyond being robbed or the possibility of being robbed, you'll actually be losing a little bit of money every year to inflation. As time passes and the purchasing of $1 is less and less and less, then your money becomes worth less as well. So I would consider this one as being a little bit dodgy. Sure, it's very safe, but in the long run, I guess that's better than going to the casino. But we'll be talking about going to the casino later. Let's continue with point number 2. Number 2 is save your money in a bank account. And believe it or not, this is what a majority of people do. They put their money into a savings account, and that's where it lives. And for good reason. Most countries that are established will have the governments guaranteeing your deposit at the bank. I know in Canada, and I can really only talk about Canada because that's the market I know, as long as the bank is CDIC or Canada Deposit Insurance Corporation earmarked, then you have up to $100,000 of your whatever you've put into the bank protected. Now, that sounds great, and it is great, and I would recommend using a standard bank account for storing monies like your emergency fund. Great place to put it. But there's lots of buts here. Okay, the first but is around the interest you get. You could gain in the range of 0 to maybe 3% on a good account. So it may keep up with inflation, it may not. So you have to kind of balance that one out. And in my opinion, the risk here is the interest is too low for it to make a difference in the long term. We want to try to get as much return or interest on our money as physically possible because it really makes a difference. If you employ the rule of 72, it states that if you divide your interest rate that you're getting into 72, that'll tell you how long it's going to take. If you put no more money into that account, let's say you put $100 in there, how long is it going to take to double to $200? If you're getting 10% interest, then it's going to take you 72 divided by 10, or 7.2 years. If you are getting a return of 20%, 72 divided by 20 becomes around 3 and change years. So it starts looking a lot more appealing. It's tough to get that kind of interest rate. It is possible, but it's tough. But it increases how fast you can grow your money. So this to me is, like I said, a bank account's a good place to put monies in where you need to get quick access to it, and it's guaranteed. And if you get robbed, they can't take the money out of your bank account. So you're usually pretty safe. Okay, number 3 is to invest into government type bonds. What's the reward? It's a solid investment completely backed by the government. The government would have to fold for that investment to fail, and they're continuously taking money out of our pockets. I doubt they're going to fold. You're basically what you're buying actually is government debt, and I'm pretty sure that I'm correct on this one. But do your research. In Canada, they're called a GIC or a Guaranteed Investment Certificate, and in the States, they're just called Treasury bonds. Now, the current interest rates are in the 3 to 4% area. And when you sign a treasury bond or a GIC, they're locked in for a period of time. Now, this is where the risk is involved. Your money is essentially tied up for the term of that investment. If you cash out the investment before maturity, you could forfeit the interest for the term of the investment. That's the risk. I don't know if it's exactly the same for the States or other countries, but in Canada, it definitely is. Let's say I signed a GIC for 2 years that's given me 4%. And 2 years, 11 months, 25 days, I got to cash it out. Something happened, I need the money. I don't get interest for that. Now, GICs can be written in different ways by different banks, but in essence, your money is, to me, the risk here is your money's landlocked for a period of time, and if you have to cash out, you could lose the actual interest of the term that you've already waited to collect. GICs, I know, are a great place to put money that's relatively safe, especially if you're coming into your retirement years. So, would I write it off completely? No, definitely not. I think it has its place in your investment portfolio. I think a portion of your investment should be in some sort of GIC or treasury bond. I think that's a smart move, and that's one of the ways to reduce risk in anything that you do is to diversify your actual investment. Okay, number 4. Invest into dividend companies that are dividend kings or dividend aristocrats. Now, I'm being very specific here. The reward is you have a relatively solid investment, not backed by government, but by a company with a track record of solid dividend returns for at least 25 years. Now, aristocrats have paid 25 years of solid, never reducing, usually gaining dividends over time. Whereas dividend kings, they've been doing the same thing but for 50 years. So not a bad place to be. If you're interested, one that I invest into, which is a dividend king, is Coke. Fantastic company. They have had solid growth as well as they've had solid dividends over the years. But it's not as rosy as one would think. To get some of this stability, you're giving up something, and let's talk about that. Interest. Dividends in this type of field of stocks range between 2 to 8%, so they're not crazy good. The dividends will also gain in dollar value as the stock price increases over time. And like I said, an aristocrat or a king will slowly raise the actual dollar value of the dividend per stock over time. And also, if you invest into a solid company like this, you can see really good growth appreciation on the stock value or how much the stock is worth. And you can see gains that exceed 10%. And that's not unusual with these types of companies. I know I invested into a whole bunch of 3M stock, and then I watched it plummet, and I'm going to talk about the risk and all that here in just a second. But on the upside, I've seen like my Coke stocks, they've just done gangbusters. I think between the dividends and the actual value increase of the stocks, I've seen close to 20% year after year. That's nothing to shake a stick at. But let's look at other risks here. If you purchase a solid dividend stock when their share price is relatively high and the stock falls in value, it could take years to recover. If you're relying on the stock value, this could be dangerous. Dividends, though, are guaranteed with these types of stocks. There's never, ever 100% guarantee, but these guys get the actual designation of an aristocrat or a king because they have never missed a dividend payment for at least 25 years. And that's something. So if you're looking for ways to get a return on your money that is more guaranteed, maybe not a high performer, but guaranteed, this is really good. I think it performs better than GICs, and it has flexibility. If you want to, let's say one of your stocks takes off and increases in value a tremendous amount, you can cash it in. So you have that ability at any time. You're not landlocked for a period of time. So personally, this is one of my most favored ways to invest. I'm going to be looking at a different way you can invest into stocks in a second here, which is a lot riskier. But I feel that this is a really good way to have a section of your portfolio invested into. I have been seeing, at least depending on how I invest, returns of at least 10 to 15% on a yearly basis, which is really, really, really good. Again, if you employ the rule 72, it ain't going to take long for my money to double. And I've already been seeing that effect happening. Now let's look at number 5. And as I mentioned a second ago, it's investing into stocks in general. Now, you're not looking to capitalize with a dividend king or a dividend aristocrat. You're just seeing a stock and you like it. A good example has one of the golden childs has been Tesla. Another golden child for a long time is Apple and Microsoft. Really good stocks. But they do have problems as well. The price goes up, the price goes down. I've always said the reason why personally, I don't invest in Tesla. And the reason why is I feel that one man has too much power to influence the price of my investment. And I've seen people ride that roller coaster, and I'm not interested, to be bluntly honest with you. I'm a little risk adverse in this area. But let's look at this in general. The reward is you can see really great returns in dividends, if it pays dividends, and in stock appreciation, and in stock appreciation specifically. There are more than a few self-made millionaires by purchasing a stock and seeing it increase to substantial prices. I was actually talking with somebody who bought into Shopify in Canada into his TFSA, and he's turned it into $1 million TFSA account. And he only invested about, I'd say $60,000. But he invested at the right time. Now, I'll have to say to you, either A, you've got a lot of smarts going on here, or a lot of luck. So that's something that I want to say. But let's look at this here. So the reward can be very substantial. Now, the interest is very hard to predict. It really depends on the stock, is what I'm saying, as well as the market conditions, as well as things that just happen. The risk, with so much potential upside, there's also a potential for downside. This is what makes the stock market a risky venture. Knowledge and diversification can, though, help you mitigate this risk. Number 6, invest into real estate. Reward, you have the potential to see really good gains in real estate, and you might even be able to leverage a percentage of your capital gain against the whole value of the property. In other words, you put down 10%, but you gain the value of 100% of the property. That's where you can really do well. Interest, there's a strong potential to earn very good returns, but again, it's very hard to predict. The risk here, though, is real estate requires a lot more than luck or time. It requires a lot of knowledge in all the phases of owning real estate. And at the very least, you should consider purchasing your own home that you're going to live in, and even if you carry a mortgage, because you'll normally get your rent back when you sell. When I tell people this, they kind of go, well, wait a second, you're not paying rent. Well, you kind of are. You're making mortgage payments. But I have found in over 30 years of my life, whatever I've given the bank over the course of the term of a mortgage, I'll get back when I sell the house, an appreciation on the house, because you're paying down the price of the house as time goes on. Yeah, you're paying interest. But hopefully, with the appreciation difference, you've invested $1 and you're getting the investment back on $10, let's say, if you invested 10%, it's going to be higher than what you're going to pay in actual cost of servicing your mortgage and interest. Okay? I hope this makes sense. Personally, like I said, I've always found, even if you're adverse, I'm not really great when it comes to investing into real estate, And I found the one place that I have made money is in my own home year after year after year, and I've done it for 30 years in up markets and down markets. So I'd always recommend buying your own home if you're able to. Number 7, and as you can guess, the risk factors are getting higher as we move down this list. You might say, well, real estate's a solid investment. It could be, but again, you need lots of knowledge. But number 7, invest into crypto. Reward, you have the potential to do very well in the crypto markets, buying and selling different cryptocurrencies. The interest, overall, I've personally seen gains over 1,000%, and I'm not lying about this one. The risk, though, and the risk you got to know about. There is a potential for a lot of risk in these markets. It's pretty much the Wild West in investing. And be sure to never invest in anything you're not willing to lose, because I have lost money on bad crypto investments. In truth, where I made most of my returns was through mining and holding. I would mine a cryptocurrency and hold it. And I'd wait till it got to a nice high price. And that's when I cashed out. I think one of my best cash outs was I had mined about $300 worth of Ethereum when you could still mine it. And when I cashed it out, it was worth over $10,000. So I did gangbusters on that one. Like, that was just fantastic. By the time I'd paid everybody off, and this is another risk that I didn't even mention in my notes here, is the bad thing about crypto is when you're getting out of the crypto, there's really high handling fees. It's not unusual to pay 10% of your whatever you're selling back to the person who's turning it into your country's currency. So you got to think of that as well. Invest into friends, family, or the next hot trend. You got to invest into this. It's fantastic. The reward, you get onto the right investment and you can become the next millionaire. And that is true. The interest is very hard to predict. Is it going to be a winner or a loser? That's tough. You know, in terms of risk, I'd say take some time watching shows like Shark Tank to get a taste of this type of investment. This, to me, is the riskiest investment of all, except for the last one. I personally will not invest in a family, full stop, as it's never, ever worked for me. If I have a family member who's in need of money for something, I'll just give them the money if I can, but I won't invest into them. Invest through games of chance. Papa needs a new tractor, basically. The reward is you can find this very thrilling way to invest, but in all honesty, it's called gambling for a reason. In terms of interest, there's a reason why casinos make money. Though you can win at times, you're more likely to lose more than you gain. And that's something for you to remember. Risk, though, is knowledge is key here. Games of chance where there's no skill involved are not a good bet. But games where you can employ strategy, like poker, I don't really know a lot of the games, but these could be a better avenue for you. If you get good at it, you can beat the odds against those you're playing with and do very well. I know some people who play poker professionally and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars. But in the same breath, at those poker tables, there's people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars too. So knowledge here is key. But remember, it's gambling. And there's a dark side to it. It can become addictive. So I say play with caution. So there you have it. Those are the 8 that stood out to me. Now you have to take a lot of these and use other strategies as well. And this is why people get flustered when they go to try to invest. Think about what governments offer you when it comes to investment vehicles. Sure, you can put money into a bank account, or even you can put money into a brokerage account, just a regular account, but you're going to get dinged on taxes on your gains. But if you put it into a TFSA or an RRSP, or in the States, a Roth IRA or a 401k, then you won't get taxed on your gains. And that's an important thing to remember here. You need to take advantage of any tax advantage accounts your local government gives you. Now, not all countries do, but some do, and you need to take advantage of it. Also, too, you have to think about diversification. I talked about it earlier. Any good investment strategy has a good amount of diversification. Now, I've been investing a lot into what's called exchange traded funds, and they're like a basket of different stocks. Now, the risk there is some of them are not that old. They haven't been around for a while. So how do I mitigate risk? Their returns on dividends are fantastic. Like you can get 20% on a basket of stocks, which is really good. But how do I diversify? I don't invest very much into any one company or any one ETF. I will split it among multiple investment companies and multiple ETFs that they hold. That way, if one of them does well and one tanks, honestly and truthfully, I had TSLY and it was giving really good returns, like 50-60% in terms of dividends. But when I eventually got sick and tired of it and I cashed out, I lost half what I put into it. So any gains I might have gotten in dividends, gone. That was a little more risky, but and that's another point too that I think is really important. Don't let your losers continue to lose. Decide when it's your cutoff point. When you're sick and tired of this investment not doing well, get out of it. It's better to take a loss sometimes than it is to watch it ride right to zero, because once it hits zero, it's worthless, and any money you put into it is gone. I've done that. It's a loser's game. If you feel that you need to get out of something, just get over it and get out of it. So it's up to you. I hope this video has helped you. If it has, you might be interested in the video that's showing up on the screen right now. It's talking about 15 powerful secrets to get rich. Now, it sounds kind of cheesy, but honestly and truthfully, I've tried to put my best in here. And it's 15 quick things you can do, you can bring into your life that can help you get rich. So make sure you check it out, and I hope you enjoy that video too. Frank Thomas here. Again, thanks for joining me today, and let's get rich together. Cheers.